How's it going, everyone? So, I'm sure most of you by now have already seen the Project Veritas video where they expose Google as the biased and manipulative company that we already knew that they were. They've got an insider telling everyone exactly what goes on within the company, and he has a document that proves all of it, that shows what they are actually trying to do. And then we've got a executive on camera who is admitting that they want to prevent, quote unquote, a Trump situation in 2020. Now, the executive involved has actually written a blog post in response to the Project Veritas video and the revelations within it. I am going to have to redact the names and the faces of the Google employees involved here because they are trying to play dirty and calling it a privacy violation for doing important journalism. But we all know who it is. Links in the description to the Project Veritas story so you can go and find out for yourself. But for the purposes of the censored publishing house known as YouTube, I'm going to have to redact the faces and the names. That said, let's get into it right now. Just a quick message. Whether it's an algorithm hiding content or outright deletion, internet censorship is on the rise. Please consider following me on free speech websites Gab, Minds, and BitChute. I'm constantly posting content, and they are a great way to stay notified of uploads. Can't wait to see you there. Alright, so the individual who, as you can see, we aren't going to name, Jenny, has said, I've spent the last 12 hours travelling back from Dublin to San Francisco, unaware of what was happening on the ground. When I touched down today, I turned on my phone. I received the shock of my life. I had received an enormous collection of threatening calls, voicemails, text messages, and emails from people I'd never met. So, first I want to say it's not a good idea to send threatening text messages or calls. Don't do that. It's not constructive. There's really no point. I know some people do it because it feels good and they want to say haha and they want to point out that she's a bad person, which she is, as you can see from the video. She's manipulative and biased and doesn't quite realise it. But it's not a good idea. Don't do that. That said, I wonder if this person would prefer to get a number of mean tweets and emails and messages, or would she rather go to prison for fraud and perjury and all these other things that you could argue a number of Google executives should probably be charged with? Because, let's face it, they have lied in front of Congress. They said that they don't manipulate search results. They said that they don't have political bias. When they do, she actually repeats that they don't have political bias within this response, but we know for a fact that they do, and we know that especially now that we have proof from this Project Veritas expose. So yeah, look, don't do it, but you know what? For her, it's better than the alternative. But anyway, she said, in late May, I accepted an invitation to meet with a few people who claim to be from two-step tech solutions. Unfortunately, I now know that these people lied about their true identities. Oh no, filmed me without my consent. Doesn't matter. Selectively edited and spliced the video to distort my words and the actions of my employer and published it widely online. I now know they belong to a group called Project Veritas, which has done this to numerous people, other people working in the tech and other sectors. So, woe is her, she's a victim, oh, she was trapped, they tricked her, they selectively edited her. I'll show you the clips. They didn't selectively edit her, and it was in conjunction with a tech whistleblower, a Google whistleblower, explaining exactly what they're doing, and there was also another employee who was explaining what they were actually doing. She wasn't taken out of context. I'm sure if Project Veritas released the entire unedited footage, we'd still see pretty much the same thing. So she's just whining and complaining that she got caught here, and this is just more evidence that when the left are actually caught in the lie, they turn around and they attack, they cry victim, etc, etc, etc. If you don't want this kind of thing to happen, stop being biased, stop manipulating search results and algorithms to suppress people that you disagree with. It's really as simple as that. She can't complain, but here she is whining about it because leftism, I guess. This was interesting because she said they wanted someone who would give them juicy sound bites about tech's alleged bias against conservatives. Over the course of a 2-hour dinner, I guess they think I delivered. So they think that she delivered. Let's see what she actually said, shall we?
The reason we launched our AI principles because people were not putting that line in the sand and they were not saying what is fair and what's equitable. So we're like, well, we are a big company, we're going to say it. Where my definition of fairness and bias specifically talks about historically marginalised communities, and that's who I care about. Communities who are in power and have traditionally been in power are not who I'm solving fairness for.
Our definition of fairness is one of those things that we thought would be like obvious and everybody would agree to, and it wasn't. Like there are the same people who voted for the current president do not agree with our definition of fairness.
So she is talking about her definition of fairness. She is literally saying that her definition is biased and other people, a large segment of people, disagree with their definition of fairness. And this is what the tech employee says that they do with regards to that.
But then there are teams which are called ML fairness.
ML fairness, the teams?
Fairness, like,
Yeah.
you need to be fair.
Yeah.
So they're trying to modify the model such that even if the data for female CEOs is
It's low.
It's low.
It kind of balances out.
It still balances out.
So as you can see, this tech employee, the technician, confirmed that they are manipulating algorithms. They are doing that. And I'm going to show you exactly how they're doing it to promote what they call fairness. Let's have a look here. So go Asian family and have a look at the images here. Asian family, like this is an Asian family. Let's go African family. Yeah, an African family, like predominantly Africans. But now let's go white family and see what happens. White family. Oh, what's that there? That's not a white family. That's interesting there. Okay. Look at this. It's like, okay, maybe there's one white family. Dad's a bit tanned, but I guess that would be considered a white family. Another mixed race family here, an actual black family with a white child. So this is what they're doing when they say fairness. So it's not factually accurate, but apparently wiping our own European peoples out of our own history and off search engine counts as fair to them. I'm not exactly sure how, but yes, I think you delivered. You delivered pretty well there. Jenny. Project Veritas has edited the video to make it seem that I am a powerful executive who was confirming that Google is working to alter the 2020 election. On both counts, this is absolute unadulterated nonsense. Of course, in a casual restaurant setting, I was explaining how Google's trust and safety team, is working to help prevent the types of online foreign interference that happened in 2016. Only this is actually what she said.
Like Elizabeth Warren, even I love her, but she's also saying like you just have to break up Google and that will solve everything.
You have to what?
Elizabeth Warren is saying that we should break up Google. And like I love her, but she's very misguided. Like that will not make it better, it'll make it worse because now all these smaller companies who don't have the same resources that we do will be charged with preventing the next Trump situation. It's like a small company cannot do.
And it's like
The White House won't play a role in making things more fair, so people are holding us accountable to fill in the gap of what
So she claims it was to prevent online foreign interference, but really what they're doing is trying to prevent a Trump situation. In other words, they want to prevent Donald Trump from getting elected. And if you watch the full video, you see the tech insider, the whistleblower, confirms this. So this is, again, just her saying, no, innocent. No. You're not innocent. You've been exposed and we can all say it. She says, the video then goes on to stitch together a series of debunked conspiracy theories about our search results and our other products. Only I just show you that there is very clear evidence that they are manipulating the search results to push what they call fairness. So that's a political bias there. She has her own political bias. Watch the video. She calls fairness as helping what she deemed marginalized communities. It's typical cultural Marxist rubbish. So they do have a political bias. And after she did this, Project Veritas came out the next day. Again, I'll link to the next story in the description. But another insider has actually said this. So this is an email coming from March 18th. It doesn't actually say the year, so it could have been this year or even earlier. But we know that they've implemented this kind of thing because of the way recommendations are working. But they said, quote, "Today is often 1 or 2 steps to Yahtzees. If we understand that PragerU, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro and others are Yahtzees using the dog whistles you mentioned in step 1, I can receive these recommendations regardless of the content of what I'm looking at. And I have recorded thousands of internet users sharing the same experience. I don't think correctly identifying far-right content is beyond our capabilities. But if it is, why not go with redacted?" So as a person, their suggestion of disabling the suggestions feature. This could be a significant step in terms of user trust. So they're saying that they should disable recommendations for what these insiders deem Yahtzees in order to boost user trust. I'm not exactly how manipulating people is going to boost their trust in YouTube and Google. I don't know how that works. Usually when you manipulate people and they find out, they tend to trust you less. But these are left-wing NPCs, so who knows what they believe. Anyway, Google has repeatedly been clear-cut that it works to be a trustworthy source of information without regard to political viewpoint. In fact, Google has no notion of political ideology in its rankings. Only we know for a fact, as I just showed you, and as Project Veritas have shown you, and as we've all seen over the years, this is 100% not true. What they do is they boost content that they deem trustworthy, thus suppressing content that they don't deem trustworthy. And if you'll notice, all the so-called trustworthy sources is just mainstream corporate trash. If you have a bias towards that, that is a political bias, because the corporate sector of the media are going to have their own political biases. They're going to have their own narrative. Whether it's Fox News or the far left extremists at CNN, they are going to have a political viewpoint of some sort. And it is invariably going to be pro-corporate media. That's a political viewpoint. Corporations are creations of the state. Therefore, favoring algorithms to boost corporate content is a political manipulation. They are pushing a political agenda. And I found this one funny. Project Veritas got me. Well done. So he's basically conceding that they got her there. They did. They nailed her. She should have just said, look, they nailed me. I apologise. We'll work to do something better. And this is what Google should do. But they're not going to do that. They just need to be regulated. And then she finally finishes up with, maybe some people will take pause and reflect on how toxic and menacing our online discourse has become and how quick we are to believe the worst of each other and think about the human cost of demonising and doxing people, the way Project Veritas has done to me. Well, it's not doxing if you're an executive at a very powerful media company, one of the most powerful media companies in the world, which is what they are. They're a communications and media company, and they are pushing an agenda, a political agenda. So it's not exactly doxing, it's called investigative journalism. But isn't it funny how she attacks others for toxic and menacing discourse without understanding the role that her own company has played in that? What does she think is going to happen when people are censored and suppressed and abused in the way Google abuses its users?
A lot of the other content creators that are within the YouTube ecosystem just saw their view counts just go through the floor.
What did YouTube do to make their view counts go down?
So Google is targeting what they consider to be right-wing news commentators. So that includes Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Stephen Crowder, and a host of other right-wing people that they are coming in, they're deciding that they don't want these opinions to have a wide appeal. And so they're coming in and they're putting their thumb down and they're deciding which content the users are allowed to see. The way that Google is able to target people is that they take videos and then they do a transliteration through using artificial intelligence. And they look at the translated text of what those people are saying, and then they assign certain categories to them, like right-winger or news talk, and then they're able to take those and apply their algorithmic rebiasing unfairness algorithms to them so that their content is suppressed across the platform.
Is that going to make people happy? Are people going to want to have a polite online discourse when that happens to them? Of course not. But again, this is just typical of how these left-wing NPCs, these globalists, always act when they are caught out. They point the finger, point the finger, point the finger. No. It is up to you. You are arguably the most powerful company in history. You can control discourse unlike any other company. You have a duty to remain neutral. You have a duty to stay above the fray, to stay back, to stay out of any kind of political manipulations, whether you call it trustworthy or whatever in terms of manipulating algorithms to push towards corporate content. They have a duty to the people and to the nations of the world to remain above the fray and neutral. Yet here they are entering the political arena, pushing an agenda, and she has the nerve to attack others for poor online behavior. I mean, the level of disconnect here, the level of cluelessness and the lacking in self-reflection, it's just off the charts. If you don't want bad discourse online, if you want good discussions, if you want people to present their ideas and arguments and have good positive debate and discussion about issues, stop censoring people. The worst thing you can do is censor people. It just gets people angry. That's all it does. It gets people angry. They feel abused, rightfully so. They feel victimized, rightfully so. They feel oppressed, rightfully so. And that's just going to piss people off and make people angry. No, Google are responsible for this, as are the other tech companies. They should stop censoring. They should support the First Amendment. They should support our freedom of speech. They should remain neutral. They should remain as platforms as they are supposed to. And if they can't manage that, then what we need to do is to force them with the state. So the state needs to force them to declare themselves publishers or platforms. And if they're a publisher, fine. Express your view. Do that. You're allowed to express your view if you want to, but you can't have immunity. You can't get protected by the law for what people post on your websites. And then if you want to be a publisher, as you should be, then everything needs to be 100% neutral. That means no censorship of legal opinion and no using algorithms to promote what you deem trustworthy news sources. You should only promote what you think people, those individuals, are going to watch. You should promote what's popular, not what you want people to watch, because that will only lead to further conflict and maybe even worse than just that. That said, make sure you share this video around. Go subscribe to me on BitChute because they are less censored and we need to get as many people over there as possible because I think YouTube are actually going to implode. I don't think Google are going to be able to save themselves unless some miracle happens. So please follow me over there. Follow me on Minds. Follow me on Gab. I'm probably going to set up on other social media. I'm also on Telegram as well. I'll often do little short vlogs, just voice vlogs on my Telegram account. Links to all these are in the description. Share this video around because, as we all know, YouTube are not going to promote it. They're not going to recommend it to anyone whether they'd like it or not because they are manipulating the algorithm to promote content that they prefer. So I need your help to share it around. And I'll see ya when I see ya.
I miss you, Jenny.